Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. My name is Vivian Acquah, the workplace wellness advocate, and I advise companies and managers with keeping their people healthy, happy, and safe. And for those of you who are watching this episode for the first time, this platform is meant to inspire employers and employees to humanize the workplace together and to thrive together. So um, every time I bring on guest speakers, or in this case tonight, one guest speaker, to have a conversation about a topic that is very relevant at the moment. And I'm just together. We are planting thought seeds, right? We're just planting thought seeds, and it's up to you to nurture your thought seeds. So bring in some light, bring in some water, and a whole lot of love. And I know that with the tips that we share, you will definitely succeed in the workplace. So, with no further ado, I am going to introduce tonight's topic and tonight's guest. So, today is about leaders boost your workplace culture together with Marjolijn de Boer. But before I'm going to bring in Marjolijn de Boer, I'm also going to have a conversation about a trending topic at the moment, and that's the following. I recently read an article about which was written by Mark Ritson, and he was really supportive about the companies that are sharing posts about Black Lives Matter. But another question that he brought above is, okay, how diverse are those companies? How diverse are the boards? Because if you're stating that Black Lives Matter, then you should also make the change from within. So I am just amplifying his message by showcasing it here. If your company is supporting Black Lives Matter on social media, you should also walk the talk and look from within and see how you can make your workplace more diverse so that different voices are heard. I don't have to bring in all the statistics regarding diversity because you can bring in the McKinsey report and you can bring in so many research from Lean In and other Harvard studies that have done studies regarding diversity. And as we all know now, we are in the midst of international demonstrations where people of color, but also allies of people of color, are demonstrating for equal rights. So that's the light that I want to bring in, and also want to bring in a highlight towards Lego. Lego is, in my case, an ally. Why? Because they are walking the talk. Not only are they showcasing that they are supporting Black Lives Matter, but they are supporting a few organizations who are dedicated towards supporting Black children. And I feel like Lego needs to have a boost. So I'm boosting them up via this conversation. I want to bring in my guest speaker, Marjolijn de Boer. I'm going to amplify her, make her bigger.
Hi, everyone.
Hi. So Marjolijn de Boer is an organizational psychologist. She has developed a 6-step power plan with which she activates and optimizes the talent within organizations and teams. Hi, Marjolijn. How are you?
Hi, Vivian. I'm doing fine. How about yourself?
I am doing okay.
Good.
Could be better. No, no, no. I am okay. I'm really excited about having this conversation tonight, and also excited about what you have to share when it comes to boosting the workplace culture,
Yeah.
because I think that not only leaders can learn from that, but also the team members can learn from that. So
Yeah. Yeah.
what going to the first question, what is your personal connection when it comes to humanizing the workplace, or maybe your business connection when it comes to humanizing the workplace?
Yeah. Well, my personal connection actually goes way back when I think I was 6 or 7.
Mm-hmm.
And I really noticed with myself that I really wanted to lift my friends up. That was
Mm-hmm.
really my thing. I wanted to look at the positive. And when kids were teasing each other, I really didn't like it and I didn't understand it. And I wanted to be there for other kids and lift them up and give them a good positive feeling. And as I grew older, I saw that within companies, of course, as a wellness advocate, for sure, in companies, teasing goes on, or gossiping or stuff like that.
Yeah,
But
the
also, I
bullying.
noticed
Yeah.
the bullying. But
Yeah.
I also noticed that a lot of companies focus on what needs to be developed instead
Hmm.
of the potential that's already there, with which you can lift people up. And I was fascinated about it. I didn't understand it because it's costing us a lot of money, because we're trying to make people into someone that they're not, and we're not using their potential. And it's
Okay,
crazy.
there is something annoying that I do with my guests, and I don't know if you have noticed, but you mentioned something that is worth amplifying. So before I'm giving you an awesome card, but I also I want you to repeat what you just said, just to raise the bar, and maybe the people in the back, they didn't hear you. So can you repeat it?
That I'm fascinated by, that companies are focusing on what needs to be developed instead of utilizing the potential that's already there. And it's costing us a lot of money, people. And if you
Okay,
want to be a good result driven company, you need to nurture the talents of your people, for sure.
awesome. I love it. I love it.
Cool.
I love
Got
it.
my
So
first card.
I always love to share the awesome card, definitely.
Yeah, cool. So, Vivian, what is your biggest lesson in life so far?
My biggest lesson is I have experienced how it is to be on the other side of bullying, and that is being bullied, right? And that is being dehumanized in front of colleagues, but also being, feeling broken, feeling left out. And the lesson that I have learned from this, at the time, I was very angry, sad, bitter, all these emotions that aren't helping. But it planted a thought seed within my mind. What can I do to change that? What can I do to elevate that? Because I'm not there to change people. I am there to humanize their mindset. I'm there because I have a son who is at the moment he's 6. But by the time that he becomes an adult, I don't want him to deal with the BS that I've dealt with. And I also want to look him in the eye and say, Mama did something about this. At least I paid a contribution about making the world a better place by starting from the workplace. So that's the biggest lesson, the biggest aha is, yes, sometimes life gives you the perfect gifts, but you also get lessons. And I would say, for those of you who are being bullied, seek help, reach out, and know that at the end there is a rainbow, as long as you find your tribe, find people surrounding you who know how to uplift you, and maybe sometimes you need to remove yourself from that toxic environment so that you can thrive. So that's my biggest lesson.
Oh, cool. And you're not alone, right? That's
True.
also,
No, no,
yeah,
definitely not alone.
yeah,
So you mentioned something about companies not nurturing the talents that they already have. But what can companies do to match their culture with the values of the employee?
yeah. That's a good question. It's a very interesting question, because I truly believe that's the start of a culture change program. If you
Hmm.
would have one within your culture, it's very important to look at what kind of company culture do we have, or do we want to be, and then really match it with all of your employees. And my biggest tip would be really to do this together. So you have sort of two situations. You could have the situation that you don't really know your company culture as of yet, because you're just
Hmm.
starting out, or you merged with another company, or you're sort of finding out. Really make sure that you do all the sessions together with employees to find out what is a good match, and especially make it concrete. So if
Why
you
is
want to
it
be,
important to do? Because you mentioned
yeah,
together quite
yeah,
often. Why is that?
yeah,
I know why, but maybe you
yeah,
can share why it is
yeah.
important to work on this together instead of doing
Yeah.
it alone.
Because if you don't, the board of directors will be really pleased at all the sessions that they've had about company culture, and they'll be high-fiving together, like, yeah, we're really excited. And then the people are like, well, I don't know, transparency, what does it mean? I have no idea. It sounds really great. Or being honest, well, I'm always honest. So why is this our company culture, and what does it say about us? I don't know. And it's a people thing anyways. Like, it's the same with your children, right? If you always tell them what they have to do, they won't
Mm-hmm.
listen to you. You have to involve them, and they
Yeah.
have to experience things for themselves to yeah. Yeah, my second card.
We're not counting the awesomes.
Yeah, so, and it's the
Yeah.
same with company cultures. People they want to be involved, and if you involve them and really really involve them, not like have a session and then have a lot of input and not do anything with it, what I see
Mm,
being done
yeah.
as well a
Yeah.
lot. So you
Which
need to,
which which encourages people to be disengaged more than they were
yeah,
before, right?
yeah. Exactly. So if you go for it big time, and be
Mm-hmm.
consistent and
Yeah.
be concrete.
Yeah.
And that concreteness, you can do that together. You can ask people, all right, honesty, what does it mean to you? And then you
Mm-hmm.
can make really great statements for your company that people really feel like they are involved with it and proud of it. And that's
Yeah.
what you really want.
Yeah. And also, I think that when it comes to this question, um, I've seen so many companies posting their or sharing their, their mission statements or their company values. But when you look at the people, it's sometimes hard to match it. It's sometimes hard to see what they
Yeah.
how they are matching that with the employee, and sometimes it does. I mean, when I look at Salesforce, they have this ohana value, and you see that they have that family value where they treat each other as family.
Yeah.
So they have that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
here in the
Yeah.
Netherlands, there is this great example that everybody uses, Tony Chocololi. They also have
Yeah.
a great company culture and a great vibe, and I get that. But I also want other companies to know that it's really not that hard to combine those two, because it's the people that make your company running, right? It's the
Yeah.
people that are running your business. So why not combine the two things that you love, the people and the company, and make it
Yeah.
happen?
Yeah, and the thing that I've noticed a lot is that a lot of companies sort of, they're like, okay, we've got the processes, we know what our KPIs are, and now
Hmm.
we also need to do something about our culture. And it's sort
Yeah,
of a side
the
dish
other
to the
way
main
around.
course,
Yeah.
and it has to be the other way around. And
Hmm.
if you as a company want to be transparent, you also need to be transparent in your whole onboarding process, your whole. So if I'm looking for a job and I'm applying for a job at your company, that's very transparent, but I don't know how many interviews I'm going to have and all that stuff, then
Yeah.
you really did not make your values very concrete. So
Why
it's
why
it's
why why do you feel the need to mention that? Is there something underlying there? Uh,
Well, because what I really noticed that right now a lot of companies want to work on their company culture,
Mhm.
but they sort of see it as a side dish, so they
Mhm.
don't do it for the full 100%, and then it
Mhm.
just doesn't work.
Yeah.
So you need to make it your main course, and then for sure your results will come and really boom in. But you need to make it your main course. Yeah.
That's interesting that you talk about food. I always love
Yeah.
that.
Sort of a conceptual thinker sometimes.
No, I do that as well. I have my ingredients, and people who know me, I use the word marinate a lot, because sometimes you need the
Yeah.
idea to marinate, to let it, let let it marinate for one day, and the next day you might feel
Yeah.
different. So
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. So, Vivian, of course, you are doing these interviews for a long time now. You're on
Hmm.
a big mission to inspire others in humanizing the workplace, and maybe even humanizing society on a bigger plate of things. Do you maybe have some tips for people that would like to inspire other people in doing the same thing?
I would say start small. Um, what helps me during this journey is along the way, I see people who are like-minded. I see fellow advocates. It helps to not feel alone. Because when I started doing this, in the beginning, a lot of people didn't know what workplace wellness meant, especially here in the Netherlands. And I had to explain myself, saying that I don't only focus on vitality, I focus on the different pillars within workplace well-being. So that's financial, mental, social, environmental, and physical, and also
Yeah.
career well-being. But you need to find your allies, and you also need to find that your business support system, because friends and family, they love you,
Yeah.
but they don't understand, why your heart beats faster, because you're on a mission to help the world make a better place. And whatever it is that you are doing, find your tribe, find your people surrounding you. Maybe visit network clubs, maybe online. A lot of Facebook groups are popping up. Try to find your tribe surrounding you and know that you're not alone.
Yeah, cool. Good
No.
tips. And I
No.
also think for sort of challenging yourself, it's really good to go more out of your comfort zone with friends and family, because
True.
they will always sort of, even if they don't really understand what you're doing, they will
Mhm.
cheer you on, right? They will say,
Definitely,
come
definitely.
on,
They
go
are
for it.
my ambassadors. They
Exactly.
support me. But when it comes to asking business questions,
Yeah.
that's something that I do with my business circle.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate them for what they are doing, and also, uh, making me feel uncomfortable out of my comfort zone by doing this, but also by meeting new people, because a lot of people might not be aware that, yes, I am here, I am Vivian, and you might see me as the extrovert or maybe the ambivert, but in the days that I'm not doing these lives, I'm recharging, and that's when my introvert mode comes on. So I am, especially now when it went with this whole lockdown, and also with the movement that is going on at the moment, I am being mindful of my energy and time. And sometimes that means that I can't, do one-on-ones, and especially with all the zooming
Yeah.
is taking a lot of your energy. And for
Yeah.
people who are highly sensitive,
Yeah.
it is they have to be mindful of that as well.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah.
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 So when it comes to creating a healthy culture, and I don't know where I got this from, but I think from Gallup, they did a study regarding it's the manager's fault that people are leaving, something like that. It was
Yeah.
most of the
Yeah.
case, people leave because of the manager, or people leave because of their team. But
Yeah.
what can managers do to create and improve a healthy team culture? So not an organization culture, because that's something that a manager has. It has an influence, but not on a bigger scale, but they do have an influence on the team
Yeah,
culture.
for sure. Yeah, I actually believe it's about 70% of people that leave their jobs. The reason is their manager. So
Yeah,
that's
it's their
astonishingly
fault.
high. Yeah, it's really, really high.
Yeah.
I think what's really, really important, and we're moving into that new leadership role as we speak, and I think it's going to go a little bit faster because of the pandemic that
Mhm.
we
So
are experiencing right now.
help me. New leadership? What is
Yeah,
new leadership?
yeah, from really the servant leader. So really the more the coaching leader,
Mm,
not so much the micromanaging hierarchical leader, but really the servant leader. How can I help you? How can I lift you up? How can
mm,
we utilize your talents?
yeah,
um, and I think you really help your team with not only you knowing what everyone's talents are, but that it's clear for the whole team what their
yeah,
talents are, so that
yeah.
they become way more autonomous, and
Mhm.
you don't have to babysit
Ooh,
the team.
you
They
used
can
a
do a
word
lot of
that a
things
lot of people
together.
aren't ready for. Autonomous? What? What?
What's going on? Yeah, I think
Autonomous
this is
trust.
this is key. Yeah, this is key. This is where I really see when I help teams with my power plan, I
Mm-hmm.
really see that trust goes up. Everyone knows their deeper talents. They know their deeper passions and their values. They know how to utilize them for the activities at hand. So they're not dividing it equally, but they're really like, well, you're good at this. Why don't you do a lot of that so that
Mm-hmm.
you can really grow into it and make your 7 become a 10?
Yeah.
And then you get the self-organizing thing going on, and then the manager is way more uh, the servant leader and the coach. And if you can get to that level, I think then you're really, really helping your team out to become the
Okay,
best
she's
they
using
can
the
be.
word autonomous, she's using the word self-leadership, and she's using the word trust. You know
Yeah,
that there are some old school managers out there. I'm not gonna call them on their names, but there are old school managers out there who aren't ready for this.
yeah, yeah,
What
for sure.
what can we do? What can teams do? What can people do?
Yeah, cool. That is such a good question. I know who you're talking about for sure. I've had them sessions. Um, but you know what it is
Mm-hmm.
really, and on a basic level, if you look at managers, but also board members that are very hierarchical still, and they like to have the control. It's really what I do, but I can do this as a consultant and as a coach and as an expert in my expertise. But
Mm-hmm.
I actually ask them questions. Why? Because
Yeah.
there's a reason why you want to be in control, and there's a reason why you want to micromanage. And there is a big reason why this pandemic, with so many people working at home, and when you are a micromanager, you're having a very hard time right now because
Yeah.
you can't see the people within your team.
Yeah.
But there are other more personal reasons why you want that. And
Yeah.
if you're willing to investigate those, that will open a lot of doors for you.
And I think
In
that also know that I treat people the way I want to be treated.
Yeah,
And if you're a person that is treating people and micromanaging and controlling them in a way, you are eitherwise scaring them away or making them run away or helping them become more disengaged at a faster
yeah,
pace, or
yeah,
they become that bitter employee
yeah,
who spreads a disengagement across the whole office.
yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah, yeah, that's what you for sure see. And people will vote with their feet. Really,
Mhm.
they will.
Mhm. Mhm.
They will leave, they will look for another job,
Yeah.
or they will stay but totally disengage
Yeah.
and get sick. Well, of course, from your experience, you will see that as well. People
Yeah.
just getting sick and
Yeah.
not
Or
moving.
even coming in whilst they are sick, and
Yeah,
again, they are the people that are gossiping about the company, that are talking bad, and you can sense a vibe around them that you don't want to be near them, and it spreads and it spreads and it spreads. And
yeah,
I would rather have you invest in happiness, or I would rather have you invest in engaging the people, and know that when I say invest, I'm not asking you to put $1 million or €1 million on the table and say this is the money that we need to invest, because you can also invest by being kind, by showing gratitude, by being authentic and caring for your
yeah,
people.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Well, a card for you. I don't have one.
You're saying it already. I'm taking it in. Okay, this question.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so I'll talk to you, of course, before the interview, and
Mhm.
we talked a
Mhm.
little bit about talents and about deeper talents, and
Mhm.
that deeper talents are so great to find out what your own deeper talents are because they're so uniquely you.
Mhm.
So I was wondering, what are your deeper talents?
So for the people that aren't aware of deeper talents, maybe you can share something about it, because in the question, I ask you the question, do you mean my hidden talents or is it something else? Just to clarify
Yeah,
things, right?
yeah. Yeah, for sure. So what I see a lot of people doing when they think about their talents, they'll say, I'm result driven or I'm people oriented, which are
Mm-hmm.
really great talents to have. But there, if I ask a room of 10 people who's result driven, then probably 5 will say, yeah, I'm
Yeah.
result driven. And 5 will say, yeah, I'm people oriented. So it's really very interesting to look at a deeper level, what makes you people oriented, for
Mm-hmm.
example. So is
Mm-hmm.
that you're an exceptional listener? Or is it that you can make such a great contact with people right in the first minute, and that they trust you right away? And what do you do specifically to make them trust you?
Yeah.
Or are you a brilliant connector? Or so really going to the deeper talents, you get a very unique profile. And if you can use that unique profile to utilize the potential at the workplace, then you get really awesome team uh, building
Then
and team
I later have
collaboration.
another question for you, but I'll answer your
Yeah,
question. So,
yeah,
when it comes to my deeper talent, I've been told, and I know this in a way, I know this for myself, it's very easy for me to connect with people. And also, it's very easy to tell stories. It's very easy for me to talk, especially when it comes to a one-on-one level, because I do believe that the greatest connections are created when you tell your personal stories so that people can understand where you're coming from, right? Let's humanize the workplace. It didn't start with me just thinking about a title and start this movement. It started with my son. It started from the moment that I was facing pregnancy discrimination, but also facing a lot of other things, like me being discredited as a woman, as a pregnant woman, in a male dominated society. And I bring all those things together, and I am saying that, okay, it stops here. I want the vicious circle to stop here, and to
yeah,
create that movement, to create an inspiration, to create something to bring more of the human factor back, because we are not robots. We cry, we feel, we laugh, we are people, we are human, and I want to bring more of that human factor back.
yeah, cool,
And I'm a
cool.
nerd.
Really cool. And what makes you nerdy?
What makes me nerdy? So I like to do the digital strategy of this session. So what I do is, once this episode is done, in a few days, I will create a podcast of it, and figuring out a way to make my voice heard, because I felt like my voice has have not been heard, and I wanted to find a way that fits me, that
Yeah,
isn't too much out of my comfort zone, because this is, every time that I'm doing this, I prepare myself for this, because it might feel, even though it's episode number 52 54, it might feel like I am a pro, and I am a pro in my way, but I do have to remind myself that every time that I'm doing this, I'm learning. Every time that I'm doing this, I'm learning. So, what makes me a nerd? I have my gadgets. I have
yeah,
my camera. I have my setup here at home, and that's one of the things that I gained from working in the IT, is that I love my gadgets. I
yeah,
pay extra attention to the quality of my gadgets. That
yeah.
makes me a nerd. Yeah.
Cool.
So you recently shared that it's the men, 70% of the people who are leaving because of the managers. And I want to help organizations, together with you, help organizations by creating inclusive leaders, better leaders. But what kind of ingredients do leaders have to have or need to develop to become one?
Yeah. Well, in my opinion, a couple of things need to happen.
Mm-hmm.
I think we need to, first of all, start positively, lift up the role models that are there. There are brilliant leaders around, and we need to lift them up. And I think right now we're doing that. It's it's starting to evolve now, that we're really looking at leaders that well, lead from vision, from passion, from compassion. Our servant leaders, our coaching leaders. So I think first of all we need to do that. Look at how they do it. Secondly, I think to become better leaders, I think there's one sort of problem in the Netherlands, and I think around Europe a little bit, is that when you're an expert and you're the best boy or girl in the classroom, you automatically become the leader of a team.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's where it usually goes wrong, because you're an expert in your field of expertise, but that doesn't mean you're going to be a great leader. But we have our
Okay, I need to stop you. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do this, and I'm going to ask you, can you maybe repeat? Not maybe, you have to repeat that last sentence, because expert, leader, I think I'm hearing some things that needs to be amplified. So
yeah.
can you please?
Okay. So I think what we need to do is not make the expert of the team the best boy or the girl of the team, the leader of a team, because they are the expert in their field, in their line of work, and maybe they are a good leader, but maybe they're not. So I think we need to focus more on how we can utilize their potential, but also reward their potential, because I think there's sort of a thing going wrong, because managers just earn way more money than experts. So if you want to make more money, you need to become a manager. So it's sort of, I think that's one thing we need to do. And a third thing I really do think we need to do right now is, and a lot of companies are doing this, but I think we need to do this on a much broader scale, is we need to prefer women in top positions over men, just to get the inclusiveness and diversity on a better scale. Because now, a lot of executive boards are made of men, so their perspective is male. So it's very difficult to get another perspective going on. So I think we do need to do that. Once it's evened out, then you can have your normal process going on again. But we need
I
to
want
take
to
some faster steps.
add a few things on the label, because
cool.
when it comes to diversity, there are different ways that you can be diverse. So you have gender diversity, you have how do you say it? You have religious background, and so many other things. I would challenge companies to, if you're saying that you are diverse, try to think about the different diversities and think beyond only gender, and think beyond only color or ethnicity. Challenge yourself within that, and challenge yourself in every layer. And also, what I want to add on with what you're saying, yes, I believe that we need leaders, but we also need to encourage that among every employee, there is a self-leader in them.
Yeah, for sure.
There are a
Yeah,
lot of
for
people
sure.
who are self-leaders and are not being amplified or being encouraged to lead their team, or to help their manager lead the team. And I would say, if you're open for that, or if you have a growth mindset, or if you want to build your growth mindset, try to find your leaders, your self leaders within your team. They are already out there, and the only thing that they need is just a nudge, just an amplification, or maybe mentoring to become the next leader, to become the next you. That doesn't mean that they are taking over your position, but you're encouraging them.
Exactly. And also utilize the talents within your team, because as a
Again.
manager, we think that managers need to tick all the boxes. They need to be strategic. They need to be perfect, and they are not. And you have people within your team that maybe are brilliant strategic thinkers, or are extremely well at looking at how team members are doing, and so collaborate together to get that high performing team going on. Yeah.
Again, together.
Yeah, together.
It reminds me of the LinkedIn quote, "In it together," and LinkedIn really amplifies that togetherness. That's how I feel. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Vivian, what are your ambitions for the future?
How far ahead can I share for the future?
Well, next 5 years?
Mm, when I started doing this, so when I started to call myself the workplace wellness advocate, I saw a dream that me touching a lot of lives, me inspiring a lot of people when it comes to the workplace, but also me showing that there is hope after hurt. Because I've been hurt and I have a lot of scars on me, mental scars, as you can say, with the things that I face in the workplace. And my vision and dream is to minimize it, to minimize the bullying, to help create work environments where people can really be themselves, not being able to wear a mask, but also to see their work as their new home and to be able to recharge there and also at home, to being able to be proud of their work and where they work and what they do. That's how I see my future. And definitely a speaker, definitely amplifying this, making whatever I'm doing now, making it bigger. Because I am just starting. I am just
Yeah,
starting. And I'm not
cool.
doing it alone. I'm doing it together with other people. And that's why um, with me, I am, like you said in the beginning, you have a social heart. You are there to help others and to help others grow. And with this platform, for me, it's just my way of saying, I lift as I climb. I lift you as I climb. And that's why that quote is so important to me, but also lifting women, lifting people of color, lifting diversity on on this platform, because it's lacking.
Yeah,
When I look in the media, when I look at something, so many platforms, it's lacking, and I don't want to be the person who is maybe being called on saying you're not diverse enough. When it comes
yeah,
to diversity, I mean, even my hair, my hair, my headscarves is even diverse. So I
yeah,
want to bring that back in the people that I have. So that's my
yeah.
ambition, and I want my son
Cool.
to learn a lot from me and do things in his own way. But I hope that I am able to inspire him to pass the baton on and to do his thing with humanizing the workplace.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
But now I have a question for you related to
Ah.
the future. And that is, what is your wish when it comes to what is your wish for 2025 when it comes to humanizing the workplace and also team cultures?
Yeah. Yeah. So, what I would really love for, if we look, yeah, in 5 years, 2025, I would love to see that company culture and people and culture is the main course, not the
Mm-hmm.
side dish,
Mm.
for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And for teams, I really hope that we're able to make some real progress, and I think we will, in getting really servant leaders up to the task of coming together with teams, or even really totally self-organizing teams. So
Yeah.
I think the next couple of years will be very interesting time to see what kind of people, what kind of teams really do well without any form of leadership, because there are
Mm-hmm.
companies out there that really have no managers at all, and
Mm-hmm.
they're getting
Which is
really good
very
results.
interesting. Which is very interesting because I do think that the newer generation, and I'm not saying that for the age, so not it's not the millennials, but there is a new wave of generation that is looking for companies who have those
Yeah,
ingredients, right?
yeah, yeah, for sure. So it's going to be really interesting to sort of look like, okay, what kind of type of organization fits what kind of person the best.
Mm-hmm.
But when there is a manager, I really hope it's servant leadership, coaching leadership style. I hope to see way more women in the top, to be quite
Yeah.
honest, because I just think it's really good to mix things up. And really, what I in my heart really hope is that we're going to lift each other up.
Yeah.
Also women, to be quite
Yeah.
honest, because
Yeah.
women can sort of be a little
Vicious.
bit vicious
You
to
can
each
just say
other,
it. You
like,
can be
yeah,
vicious.
yeah,
Yeah.
like, oh, she's fat, or she's this
Yeah.
or that, and
Yeah.
we need to lift each other up. And
Yeah.
we're all beautiful, and we're all smart, and
Yeah.
we can all be here. There's room for enough of us,
Yeah.
so let's
True.
help each other out. And that's why I love to be involved also in platforms like Women in Tech that
Mm-hmm.
really do that. They lift each other up, and they are really uh, taking a lot of miles and steps to getting more women in the tech business. So it's I'm really excited about movements like that, and they give me a very optimistic view on our future to come.
Yes, definitely. I mean, in general, when there are platforms lifting people up, making it work for people, that's the platforms that I want to highlight. So
Yeah,
let's say that if your company is one of those companies who needs a highlight, who needs a shout out, reach out to me. I will definitely do a shout out because I am all for positivity. I'm all for, for companies who are really walking the walk. So if you're
yeah,
just doing this for the social media or just for cloud, know that I will investigate your company and I will see if it's true. No, really, I will
yeah,
see if it's true. And if it's not
yeah,
true, then yeah, then I won't do it because I used to, I won't say idolize the person, so Richard Branson, but
yeah,
after Corona and after this lockdown or during this lockdown and the way he reacted at first,
yeah,
it really shocked me.
yeah,
It really shocked
yeah,
me. So
yeah,
I stopped seeing him as my role model and I have to find new role models. But
yeah,
I
yeah,
know that they are out there and I will definitely re-evaluate who I'm going to see as my role model. But um, I know that he's human and I know he's doing his best. But in a way, felt um, I felt sad after he made his
yeah,
announcement saying that he's going to fire a lot of people,
yeah,
and which makes me wonder. He was one of the first people who said, "You have to treat your people first,
yeah,
and you have to look after your people first, and not look at your island first." But
yeah.
that's a whole nother discussion.
Yeah, yeah, but I do think, and I think that this time, during this whole Corona crisis, a lot of things that were sort of already in the background got
They are
bigger.
amplified. Yeah,
They are amplified. A
yeah,
lot of things are
yeah,
being amplified
yeah,
right now, and
yeah,
I think
yeah,
it's a good thing because I do really see that people now are not only talking the talk but also walking the walk.
yeah,
And whatever your opinion is about certain companies, I do see also with friends of mine, they're not going to buy from a certain company, or
yeah.
because they're just disappointed in the
Yeah.
way they reacted to the whole
It
Corona
happened. It
crisis.
happened
So
last week to Facebook, where one of their top, I think the top engineers, made a public statement saying that they are not being supportive of this movement, and they are only, doing some lip service. And he made a public announcement and also a bold announcement saying that, and sharing his resume, saying that I'm looking for a company that does have those values.
yeah,
So
yeah,
know that
yeah,
people will call you out on social media. They will make you aware. They will drag your company's name
yeah.
into this myth. So be careful with what you do. As long as you're
Well,
doing it positive with an authentic mindset and be transparent,
yeah,
not
and be
only positive.
consistent.
Yeah,
So actually, we're sort of going back to our first topic
yeah,
about the values,
yeah,
and that's sort of an example of it, right?
yeah.
So you're not being consistent, and the consumer feels this. So not only
Mm-hmm.
the employees feel this, but
Yeah,
also the consumer feels this, and they're going to vote with their
yeah.
feet,
So
and that's what happens.
do you feel like a lot of people are going to look through the company values now or evaluate their values because they are now put under a lens, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, within my circle, there is a lot of discussion about certain companies and what they've done during the Corona crisis and how they handled the situation. So, and I'm an optimist, so I truly hope that we're being way more critical about
Yeah.
it,
Yeah.
and really will vote with our feet and won't
Yeah.
think, oh, but this is easier, so well,
Yeah.
I'll just do it one more time, but really
Hmm.
vote with your feet, because then we can really be impactful together.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Definitely. And I think it's also an interesting question for the people who are working in the recruitment field know how to answer this question.
yeah,
What did your
yeah,
company do during this
yeah,
lockdown?
yeah,
Because
yeah,
they can Google things and they can ask around. And if your company has not been supportive during this lockdown, or were firing people over Zoom, or
yeah,
we're firing people harshly. And that's also something that I want to uh, just add on in this last conversation, because letting go of people, I know that it's a financial reason and you have to let go of some people because you need to save your company. But one thing that I do urge you to do is have respect, treat people with dignity, because you never know how they might become your next alumni. You never know that they will still be your ambassador once you help them mourn these new laws or help them deal with this new thing. So maybe give them I can't look into your wallet or your purse and see how much money you have, but then again, you can help them, you can invest in them by offering them some online training so that they can become resilient, that they
yeah,
can pursue their new job, and maybe help them out with finding a new job.
yeah,
You can do that. That's
exactly.
something
Yeah,
that you can do as long as you fire them with respect and have that conversation with them that you need to save your company,
yeah,
but also treat them with respect, and that respect will pay itself back in a few years' time, or maybe sooner than later. But know that whatever you do now, it will be amplified.
yeah, for sure. I think it's a really good point, because really you have to treat your people as they leave the same as when they come in, right?
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
make
Sometimes
sure
we
you
give them
have,
a kick. Well, sometimes we give them a kick
yeah,
when they want to
yeah,
leave, and I'm just like,
yeah,
No, you never know where they might be or how they are going to end up." So
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah. Cool. Good
yeah.
point.
Thank you, thank you. I really enjoyed our conversation, and it's already over time,
I
so I really
know.
enjoyed it. But thank you for being an awesome guest, and also thank you for having this conversation. And I hope that the people who are listening or those who are watching the replay, please reach out. If you have any comments regarding me or regarding Marjolijn, just tag us in the conversation, and I will definitely let Marjolijn know about it. And if you have any questions, just reach out to me or to Marjolijn and connect, and let's humanize the workplace together.
Cool. Thanks
Yes.
so much, Vivian.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I'm just going to announce next week guest. So I only have an episode on Monday, and this was inspired by that part of Jerry Maguire where he's saying, "Show me the money."
Oh yeah.
Making that special dance. Well, I want you to show women the money. So we are going to have a conversation with Weiss Broadby and Sasha Martina about how to narrow the gender gap next week, Monday at 7:45 Central European time, and it will be awesome, just like this one. So thank you for watching. My name is Vivian Acquah, the Workplace Wellness Advocate, and see you next time. Bye.
Bye.